Hello, welcome back to my Flosstube. My name is Phoebe and this is a YouTube channel about cross stitch. If you have just stumbled upon my channel, I live in kind of like out in the country in Utah, kind of like middle of Utah. Not too cold up north, but definitely not in the hot south. I couldn't handle that. We've lived here for about coming up on 5 years. And I live here with my two daughters who are still in school. My adult sons, I have two adult sons. One is at the U of U in Salt Lake City, and my second son also lives here as well. And he is an intern in school, having just graduated last year. He goes to a special program for adults with special needs, and that has been a really great program for him here. I love cross stitch, I love music, I love my family, I love books. Today we're going to be talking about cross stitch. So I'm going to be sharing all of the things that I've been stitching on in the last 2 weeks. I have a ton to share with you today. I've been having the best time stitching and I have a number of starts as well. So lots to talk about. Man, allergies have been crazy. I feel like I can't even hear myself right now. I did finally get some stuff hung up on the wall. Hallelujah. Also, thanks to everyone who has left such nice comments on my recent video, which is a stitch along with me video. That's just some gentle music provided by me and just me stitching on my porch. I love quiet mornings. I don't know about you. I am not a night person. I love being up in the morning and being outside. Maybe that's why I feel like allergies are just taking over my life right now, but I have been outside as much as I can in the mornings before it's been getting hot. So yes. Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you to everyone who left such nice comments, and I'm so happy that you could enjoy it and stitch along with it. I'm gonna have a few more, they'll be themed, so like if you want to stitch along with me with some Christmassy stuff, or stitch along with some Halloween stuff, or memorabilia stitching, that kind of thing. So those will be spaced farther out though. So today we're just gonna start with my whips and my starts, and I'm just gonna kind of pull from my basket over here, so it's not gonna be in a particular order. However, I am gonna start with my 2 strands a day whip, and because I finished my last one and the last episode I started, was it the last episode or the one before? I started a new 2 strands a day project. It's my oldest whip. It is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow from Carriage House Samplings, and I have really been enjoying stitching on it every single day. So let me snag it. All right, so this project looks like this. And I have this on just 40 count flax from Zweigart. And I am stitching this with the DMCs, and it is taking me forever to get progress on this because I just don't stitch on it for like long periods of time. It's a heavy, dense stitching project. However, pulling it out every day has been really, really great. So I finished up, I just had a little bit left to do over here, and then I started in on square number 2. This was the first square that I did. Square number 2 is this super cute spooky tree. And like I said, I'm just using DMCs. However, each square has a little bit of a different floss list, and I didn't buy all the floss at once. I just bought everything that was for the first square. So I add in a few new flosses each time. And this one here, I think it's like 645 or 644. This part of the tree, I did not have that one on hand, so I just stuck in I think it's a week's floss, but it should look pretty close to called for DMC because I'm not changing a ton. So this is 1 strand over 2 on 40 count. I love this green in here next to these brownie grays. It's looking so good. And then of course we have a little bit of teal coming in here. So this one is a really fun square. It says in memory here. I made it over to another tombstone. I think it says RIP going down. So I am really loving it. As you can see, I'm stitching it all together as one. I also have Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow started. I'm stitching that with Michael and Heidi, but I'm doing that one as separate little pillows, which will go on a Christmas wreath. And not my idea. I saw it on Instagram. Sarah shared it with me, Sarah's Stitchy Spot. So anyway, here's my progress. So that's 2 strands every day of like a pre-cut length of floss. And it's really coming along and I just love it. I told you guys in the last couple videos that I had a new start planned for Memorial Day. Heidi from Whips and Kits and Michael from Davis Quilting Stitching and we all started the American Sampler from Plumstreet Samplers. I saw this on Sean's video, Periwinkle Stitcher, and I screenshot it and I was like, you guys, look how much work Sean has done on this house. It's just a massive amount of stitching, and I kind of like sent an emoji like, oh, and they were like, yeah, that's the one we're starting. And I said, oh, okay, well, I can do it. I can do it. So anyway, we started this on Memorial Day. I kit up from stash. Basically, when I kit up from stash, I look for what I have. So I'll maybe have like 4 or 5 of the called fors. Here's the list of called fors. And then whatever I don't have, I use the DMC list and pull from stash. So it looks pretty close to the original, but there are some differences as well. But since it's based off the DMC, it's pretty close always. So here's what I got to. I'm stitching this on 36 count, I think 36 count Liberty from Moonshine Stitchery. And here's where I am. I need to serge this piece. This was a little extra piece that I didn't serge when I was serging everything all at the same time. So I need to go get my serger back out and give it a quick serge. But this is like 2 days of stitching and it is really, really cute. I love the flowers that she's got in this piece. These flowers are gonna go all the way across the top. Actually, it's gonna go this way. I'm usually a top left hand starter, but I started top right hand this time. This is a huge tree coming down. So as you can tell from this one and the last whip, if you're new here, I like to bebop around. I'm not usually like a completionist stitcher. It's kind of like how I have a lot of whips. It's because I don't want to get bored. So that's the same reason that like I never stitch a whole border, because I get bored kind of easily. So I just jump from floss to floss because it's more fun for me. So, okay, that one wasn't a new start. I'm remembering now. That was a new start in the last video, but I put a little bit more progress into it over the weekend. This one is my June 1st start with Heidi and Michael. I cannot stop dropping everything. Okay, this is the Ren Sampler from Teresa Kogut, one of my very favorite designers. And we started this on June 1st. And here is my flosses. So this one, I think she does not provide a DMC conversion. Yeah, it's all Weeks Dye Works, Gentle Art, and Classic Colorworks. So I pulled from what I had again, and then I just had to kind of like look up the flosses and see what it was close to. So I feel like I'm pretty close to what it will look like. But you know, whenever I throw in like a Threadworks, I love to put Threadworks in there, and they are very highly variegated over dyed floss, so that will always change it up a little bit. But I just like to have fun with it, you know. Life's too short. Just have a good time. Here's some over dyed Be Stitch Me silk. I took a bunch of Be Stitch Me's and they were all like a little brighter than most of the things I stitched, so I put them all in some layering of taupe Rit dye. If you find that you have some flosses that you really want to use, but they're too intense for if you enjoy primitive colors, more primitive colors. I like both. It's just a lot of the stuff that I stitch, primitive colors are called for. So there's my colorway, and here is my small amount of progress. So we are stitching this on Moonshine Stitchery Redwood. This is a 40 count, and this is a really great red pink. So if you like a red fabric but you want it to be a little less brown leaning and more red pink, that's why I went ahead and created this special fabric for this stitch along with Michael and Heidi. So I started top left. Oh, I have a needle in this sucker. I was gonna come back to this Ren, that's right. So I put some stitching into this on 2 Monday sessions. Yes, this is 2 hour-long Zooms with Heidi and Michael, which we mostly just laugh the whole time. So, to be fair, that's why I don't have more done. But I got over here to the first chubby little Ren. So I'm very excited. These big letters that she does, that reminds me of Dwelling Place. I just love Teresa Kogut. She's so awesome. So that's all my progress so far. It was just a little start on June 1st, and I stitched on it on 2 different Mondays, but that's it. So I'm excited for this one though. It's super fun. Love it. This is 40 count, so I'm doing 1/2. If you want to stitch this with us, please join in. We would love to have you. We have, Heidi and Michael and I have quite a few stitch-alongs now, so if you want to stitch any of them with us, just jump on in. Okay, this was fun. I did not mention in my last video that I was going to be stitching on this, but so it was an impromptu plan. This is actually what I was stitching on in my Stitch With Me video. So spoiler if you haven't watched that video yet, but I really wanted to stitch on Summer Quaker. I hadn't pulled this out in almost an entire year, which was so sad because I love Quakers. I love Lila's studio. And so in the day, I think I stitched on this for 2 days. I finished this medallion. I got the bird, this little guy, and then this whole medallion was done on this stitchy session. And then I brought all the words over on this top line of words, and then I was extending that little decorative border that goes under the words. Here's my kit up from Stash. I haven't used that fun blue yet, but I'm excited to. I also mix silks and cottons a lot too, because I just enjoy that. I just enjoy having a wide range of medium to work with, whether it's my floss or my linen. This is a piece of Moonshine Stitchery linen. It's 40 count, and yes, I think I was feeling very inspired by Samantha, the Huga Stitcher. She also loves the Lila Studio Quakers. So, yes. And I think Andrew the Running Stitcher was stitching on his Autumn is Joyful too. So I was just like, yes, I need to get out my Lila Studio. I was just going through my kits the other day and I saw that I have Nevermore from Lila Studio in there, and I really want to start that one too. I have some fun flosses in that project. So much to stitch, so little time. So there is that whip. Speaking of Andrew, the Runner Stitcher, the sweetiest sweetie on Flosstube, he has a stitch along going on right now called Whip into Shape. You pick a whip, and so I picked the same one that he's using, which is Modern Folk Embroidery Fruits of Plenty. My voice is so low today because of the allergy situation. I sound funny to myself. Anyway, it's fine. So he is training for a marathon this summer. So every mile that he runs, we can stitch 10 stitches. And then he posts on his Instagram. If you go to his Instagram, there's a Linktree link right below, and it has a link to his training worksheet. It'll take you right to the Google sheet, and he updates it with how many miles he's done that day. I wait till Saturday and I look on Saturday, and then I stitch all at the same time. So like this last week, he had done, I think 180 or 18 miles. And so I did 180 stitches. Now for me on this project, it's a 40 count. This is the fabric dyed by me. I have found that I can get about 55 to 60 stitches out of one strand of pre-cut floss. I'm using Carriage Black and Deep Sea from Gentle Arts. And so I don't have to count my stitches. I just do, so for 180 stitches, I did 3 strands yesterday of floss. So here's where I was yesterday. I was working in this medallion. I only was using Carriage Black yesterday. So I completed here, completed in here, then came down and did this part, and that's all I got in out of 3 strands of floss. So I'm having so much fun. I'm gonna pop up on the screen where I was when I started, and then here's the side-by-side so you can see the progress that I've made. I've been having so much fun. And I enjoy running along with Andrew as well. I'm nowhere near as great of a runner as he is, but it also inspires me to keep up with my running when I hear about all the running he's doing. So I've been loving that so much. So 1 strand over 2 with Carriage Black and Deep Sea from Gentle Art for my Whip into Shape on Modern Folk Embroidery Fruits of Plenty. Another new start I had in the last 2 weeks is Stars and Stripes from Shakespeare's Peddler and Plumstreet. And since I finished my 4th of July stitch, where I was stitching on something every 4th of the month, let me set this down. It was time for me to pick a new one for the 4th. So on June 4th, I started that, and I put this on Landslide from Moonshine Stitchery, and I kitted it up. Oh, that's right. So I already had this one as a kit. It was already in my kit ups, but I forgot that I did. So then I forgot that I'd already had all these flosses pulled. So then I don't know if you remember when I finished my Artful Offerings piece, I really loved all of the patriotic colors in that, so I wanted to use those in this project. So I have all those flosses and the original kit up flosses. So the next time I get this out, I'm gonna go through everything and decide which things I actually wanna use. Or I might just leave them all in here and then just pick how I wanna pick, because the 2 different designers, they did not choose all the same flosses. So there's a whole list for one designer and for the other. So there's a lot of flosses called for. I think it's like 33 flosses or something, 31 flosses. So anyway, here's where I got to. Not very far, but loving it. So this is using the colors from the Artful Offerings piece. And so I won't change any of the symbols that have already been touched here, but I might add in some of the other flosses. So, like, we haven't done any gold or green or anything yet. So anyway, this is 40 count, so it's 1 over 2, which is my preferred. I do have some projects on 46, but I haven't tried 56 yet. And this will be coming out every 4th of the month now. Here's what Landslide looks like. It's just a really nice sampler neutral with very gentle modeling. And so there's that new start. I had another new start on the 13th for my Dark 13th stitching. Here's the color palette. Any thoughts on what it could be? This was not planned. However, I have been enjoying Josh Cross Stitching Cambria's Flosstube and his Instagram very much, and he posted along with a friend his progress so far on the Witchy Stitchers Halloween Tarot. It's like a 90s nostalgia palette, and I just had to start it. However, I started it on Moonshine Stitchery Apothecary, and because I love purple so much. So this is a Halloweeny shade, although you could use it for, you know, a Mirabilia. You could really use it for anything. I just love purple at all times. But I didn't want to stitch, I want them to be small because I want to make little pillows out of each of them and then have them in a little dish for Halloween. So I wanted to stitch it on 40 count, and I was not going to stitch these on black on 40 count or 8 to 20 count or whatever. So I'm stitching it on purple, and it is really, really fun. I'm using all of the called for DMCs, and it's gonna be small and cute and purpley. So I'm loving it. I haven't put any of the black in yet because I want to wait to do that, and that'll make it pop more. If you go look at Joshua's though, his pops so amazingly. These were designed to be on dark fabric, but I just don't want to torture myself that way, even though I know I would love the look of it. I just want them to be small, and I feel like that would be way hard on my eyes. So if you want to see these how they're intended to be, go look on Joshua's Instagram. I link everybody I talk about in the comments below so you can go reference what I'm talking about. So, oh, on my nails today and in the Stitch With Me video, this is Moonshine Mani's X-Files. This is available just for like the next 4 or 5 days on the June Hella Handmade Creations event. I will link that down in the comments section below as well in case you want to get this. This is a silver linear hollow flare polish, which you can't see the linear hollow here. I'll put a picture. But it's really cool because it's also a magnetic polish, but it's just like a really, really intense look, and it's inspired by the X-Files. And I think I forgot to mention in that video what was on my nails. So anyway, loving this for a dark 13th start. And I do intend to stitch them all. She hasn't released, I think she's released like maybe 10 or so. And it's a really big amount of them. So it's a long-term project, but I just think it's so cute, and I'm definitely a 90s kid, so I couldn't resist. This one is not a new start, but I did get another diagonal on my my Phoenix. I think it's called Sunset Phoenix. I put up a picture. This is a project I'm gonna stitch on the 9th of each month. It's for my brother, and he loves Phoenixes, and I'm using the diagonal stitching method, which I learned from Brian Blitz Stitch. It's basically made so it's the Parky method, and it makes it so you're not gonna have lines in your stitch when you're done. And so I'm just in the tippy top corner, but this is 20 count Ada in my attempts to make this not be so huge. So there's my little bit of progress on that. And I, right after that, on the 10th, I started a new project for my husband and I's anniversary. Because I had finished Pretty Little Paris, which was my last anniversary stitch before Mania. And so I'm ready to share with you my new start for that. So this is a piece that I plotted using PCX Stitch on my computer. And I just pulled the image from some art that I found online. So, you know, I'm not reproducing this or anything. It's just for my own personal use. But here's where I am. So I started with the diagonal method again, top left-hand corner, but this is all gonna be DMC 310. There is a little bit of brown right in there. So I'm using Markup XP, which I do with all of my full coverage pieces. So I was going along doing the diagonal, I got to the brown, doing the diagonal, and then I was like, I'm gonna go outline where all the black is gonna go, so the next time I'm just gonna fill it in. And then I'll get back to the diagonal after that. So that is what I did. This was one day of stitching. And this is again 20 count Ada. This one is like a ivory color, but it's full coverage, so it doesn't really matter what color. Ideally, if I did it on black, that would probably be really good, but I couldn't do that to myself. It would be really difficult. But if I did, then it wouldn't show any kind of stitching, any kind of cloth showing through the black stitches. But so anyway, there's my little start on that. And my color palette is just very, very interesting so far. Sneezes. The rest of the project is lots and lots of corals, pinks, purples, reds. So that's gonna be really fun. I have 3 more things to show you. This is my last new start that I did in the last couple weeks. I started my first animal cracker with Lizzie the Stitcher for her birthday this year. We both love Stacy Nash, as I'm sure you all do. And the first one that I chose is Clovis. And she's so, so adorable. Let me pop her right back in the... Okay, so I wanted to stitch her on 36 count, and the 36 count that I had to hand, I decided to pull out Snowfall from Moonshine Stitchery. And originally I thought I want to stitch this on something dark so that the white part of her body will show up, of her face will show up better. But then I decided I really want to stitch it on this. So what I did was I changed that color of her face. So this is all supposed to be like a very light linen or something. And I'm using Mocha from Weeks instead. So she's going to be these 2 colors primarily instead of linen and that charcoal color. So I'm using, instead of like a charcoal color, this is a dark brown, and then Mocha from Weeks. And I am using Teal Frost for the dress, Putty for the apron. Most of the other stuff is the same, but I did change these 2 colors. So I'm loving how she's going along. This is 2 days of stitching on Clovis. And she's just so cute. So I'm really excited to have started that with Lizzie. Lizzie started Harriet. Go watch her latest video. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Lizzie, I don't know how you get so much stitching done, but everything just looks perfect. I don't want to say that word because I know it freaks everybody out, but that's how it looks to me. And I'm not a perfectionist, so that kind of comparison doesn't bother me, so I'm sorry if that triggered you. But it's just, her stitching is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So if you're not watching Lizzie's videos, you definitely need to. Every video is so chock full of amazing projects, just next after next after next. I'm just like, how is she doing all of this? You're amazing. Lizzie, I love your channel. Everybody, I will link all the channels down below, but here is my final start. I started this on June 2nd. The last 2 stitches I have to share with you are the 2 projects that I random rolled with you last time. This one is Abby Rose Designs for Where Your Treasure Lies. I have almost thought about giving up on this piece just because of how huge it's gonna be. It's gonna be so big. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But I'm just kind of regretting that I started on 28 count linen. But I just loved this over-dyed, or it's not over-dyed, it's a printed linen. I really loved how it looked with these flosses and the nice brightness of that light background with the flosses. I really love the look of it. It's just so huge and spaced out the way that I stitched it. But anyway, I'm stitching this 1/2 on 28 count linen. This was just like some of the stuff, I think I got it from Fat Quarter Shop, but it's just like the printed Smoky White by Zweigart or something. And I'm using all of the called for flosses, and I did not do a ton just because I was not feeling like really compelled to stitch on this. I believe this is what I did. I had just had this out the week before or something like that. So last but not least is Long Dog Sampler's Cardinal Points. So I also had just had this out, so I wasn't feeling particularly, not like overly enthused to be stitching on it again. I like to stitch on something different every day, guys. I don't know what to tell you. So this time I believe I brought this down a bit more, and then this is mostly new, I think. And that's what I did this time. So not a ton. The reason I think with this project too, I have a hard time with it. The reason that I picked it is the reason I'm having a hard time with it. It has so many different colors. It's not very focused in on a color scheme. And I'm learning that stitching on something like that, it's kind of like Mary Morgan's. I also don't love stitching on that because it's just a little too chaotic for me. And you have to switch your floss so frequently. But the look is really cool, so. Slowly and steadily, this is a Moonshine Stitchery fabric. Not one that's currently on the site, but it's kind of close to Serenade, 40 count. And that is my final whip. Now we can talk about a tiny bit of haul. I just have a couple random charts and a couple random flosses. So I just snagged this Mill Hill kit. I keep thinking that one of my daughters will want to pick up one of these kits and start it. We'll see. But so this whole thing's ready to go. I just love the Halloween series because I love green and purple and black. It's just so fun together. I guess I just love Halloween. I got the first one in the Cottage Garden Samplings new series, the Year in the Woods Part 2. And this is number 1, the wolf. And then I grabbed a Sweet Reward Pin Keep from Scattered Seed Samplers. Lizzie the Stitcher does a lot of scattered seed, which I love to see too, so that's extra fun. And it just looks so pretty. I want to stitch on everything Lizzie's stitching on. Okay, then I was at Pine Needles in Utah yesterday. Was it the day before? And I just got, sorry, I'll stop making noise in a second, a mishmash of floss. I just love adding to my floss stash. And I just wanted to mention, Pine Needles is a quilting and cross stitch shop. I feel like it's in one of the Jordans, West Jordan, South Jordan, East Jordan. I don't know. I don't think there's an East Jordan. But anyway, after The Stitchy store out in, is it Cottonwood Heights, closed. The closest one to me besides Pine Needles is all the way up in Shepherd's Bush, which is pretty far for me. And so I like that Pine Needles seems to be adding a little bit more to their cross stitch section. I think they've added more patterns. They've added more display pieces. And so I'm enjoying that. It's still like a 45-minute drive from my house, but at least it's not an hour and a half, which is what Shepherd's Bush is. So anyway, that's that. I also ordered some more floss from Stitchery Express, which is another Stitchy store in Utah, but it's up like basically like the same distance away for me to go to Shepherd's Bush. So I just sometimes order floss from them to ship it to me occasionally. Okay, so that's all my haul. Let's talk about plans. So one of my plans, which I'm really excited about, is a new start with Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spot. Hi, Sarah. If you're not watching Sarah's channel, which you probably are, but go watch immediately. She's so wonderful. She's going to be starting Modern Folk Embroidery's A Cloud of Sweetness, which I guess was a Patreon chart, and it's going to be available for general purchase, I think this Thursday or Friday. Whenever it becomes available, that's when I'm starting it. It looks like this. And it is so beautiful. So we're gonna start it, and we're actually gonna start it on some linen that I designed for Sarah. I wanted to send her something special. She's having some, you know, as we all do, having some tough times occasionally, but it's also her birthday. So I wanted to send her a little cheer up, plus, you know, a virtual hug, but also a birthday present. So I created her some linen, and it is called My Stitchy Spot. If anyone needs some linen named after them, it's Sarah, because she's just so wonderful. And so it looks like this. And I know Sarah's stitching one of her big pieces on Tabby Cat Creme Brulee. So I know she doesn't mind an intense modeling. So I wouldn't call this a super intense modeling. I would think of this as like a medium, but it has layer upon layer upon layer of some colors that just felt very cozy and sweet to me, which is how I think of Sarah. So this is called My Stitchy Spot, and we're gonna stitch on, I'm gonna start this with her. I'm not calling this my stitch along with her. I know she is gonna start it and I'm gonna start it with her. So she'll probably talk about it in her next video, her start, so you can plan for that with her if you would like to. But I'm excited to do that with her, and that piece from Jacob is just gorgeous. So that's an exciting new plan. If you're interested in any of the linen I'm talking about today, my website is linked in the description bar below. I do have some more pieces of this in 40 count up on my website. And so that's the first plan. Today is June 15th. Teresa Kogut always drops a new part of her hometown sal on the 15th. As of yet, when I'm filming, she has not yet. But it's a 2-year sal. I am now 2 months behind because of both of this year and last year's mania. I didn't stitch on the sal on the 15th of May. I keep saying eventually I will catch up, but we're getting pretty close to the end. So that is one plan. I'm stitching on that today for sure. Then on the 21st, I'm going to be stitching on Fractor Flowers, which is a project for my daughter Honor. And on the 25th, I think I'm going to stitch on Felicidades Recuerdos from Needlework Press. It looks like this. That is a start with Kim and Renee and Heidi and a few other people. I think that they're all done. But not me. And then by the time, I think those are the only specific day stitches that I have before my next video on the 29th. So the other thing that I don't have any planned starts except for the one with Sarah. And so besides that, I like to pick a couple projects with you here in person. These are things that I will stitch on if I can't think of what else it is I want to stitch on at the time. So I roll a number, and so number 2, I grab out my mania list, and number 2 on the list is With Thy Needle and Thread, Winter Rose Manor. Very, very good. I want to get some more progress on that. So you'll definitely see that in my next video. And then I use my Tiny Decisions wheel to draw another project for myself. And then whatever else besides these projects will just come from whatever I'm thinking of, like if something jumps to the forefront of my mind. Rainbow Phoenix. So I just stitched on that. In case I don't feel like stitching on that right away again, I'm gonna spin again and see what happens. For Where Your Treasure Is, I also just stitched on that. I feel like this happens to me all the time. When I do a respin, I keep respinning. Okay, one of those 3 things I just stitched on, so one of them will get some more work this week, okay? I should stop cheating because that's what happens. I just keep spinning and spinning, and it's all stuff I've just done. Okay, so that is all of the cross stitch I'm going to talk about today. Those are my plans. That's everything I've stitched on. I've just been having such a great time. I hope that you've been having some lovely, lovely stitching time too. I'm now going to talk about books. So if you aren't interested in hearing about what I've been reading, then I will see you back in 2 weeks for my next episode. Now let's talk about books. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks because my work, I make nail polish, I'm constantly using my hands. I can't look at stuff because I'm reading recipes, I'm mixing, I'm packing orders, all that stuff. Besides, now I've started dyeing linen too. So that's another job where I need to, it's really good for me to have something to listen to. So I listen to a lot of books. So I like to tell you about what I've been reading and give you some recommendations. So I believe the last time we chatted, I had just started, I think maybe it was A Faint Cold Fear from Karen Slaughter. I finished that one. That's in a series. So I won't go into it too much other than I like Karen Slaughter if you like an intense murder mystery kind of police drama. She's really good at those, but they are intense. Okay, I read a lot of Frida McFadden because I do like psychological thrillers. I read The Locked Door by her. This one is a story of the daughter of a serial and just after the fact, and then things start happening again. And now she's under suspicion, and it's like there's just the tale of you get jumping back and forth between her childhood and now and what is going on, and just figuring it out as you go along with the main characters, how it always goes. So that was good. I think I gave it maybe like a 3.5. It wasn't my favorite of Frida McFadden's, but it was good. Then I read The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. I did really like this one. It looks like this. It's a romance, but it's also the story of a father and daughter. This man is raising this adopted daughter on his own for most of, well, not most of the daughter's life, but for a lot of the life, and he owns a bookstore. So if you're a bibliophile, you will love this book. You've probably already read it. And it was sweet. It was beautiful. It takes place on an island off of, I can't remember where, but I believe this is in the UK. But I really, really liked it. So that's probably one of my top picks for the last 2 weeks. Then next I read Indelible. This was the next one in the Karen Slaughter series. So just learning more about, so basically this series is about this woman named Sarah, and she is the county, she's not a crime scene investigator. She's the person that's in the morgue that's looking at the body. She's also a pediatrician. She's also married to the town sheriff. So there's just a lot going on. But this one, I think this one was the one that was a flashback for most of it, along with like a bank robbery type situation, a hostage situation. So it was good. Next, I read The Ministry of Time by Kellyanne Bradley. And this one I'd had on my TBR for a long time. I do like time travel books, I've learned about myself. And however, I got into this and I was like, kind of just, okay, until the last hour and a half. And then there was a huge twist for me. And then I was like, what? As soon as I finished, I restarted it again. So I read this one twice in 2 days. It was really good. There was a ton of stuff that I missed the first time around, or not missed, but I didn't understand the significance of it. So I'm really glad that I read it twice. I think I give this one like a 4.5. The metaphors going on in this book were just like constant. That's how the author likes to write. It was very interesting. So basically there's this woman and she is the handler of a person who has traveled through time. She's trying to help the person acclimate to this current time and see if this is a practice that is going to benefit the world, if we should keep doing this. And then there's all of this mystery that unravels and a bunch of stuff happens, and is there a mole and all these things. So I really liked it. So whoever suggested that to me, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies was next. This is also a sweet little romance. There's this woman, Emily. It's not said in the book, but I think she might be on the autism spectrum. She has a really hard time understanding social cues and not just being very literal and straightforward about everything. And she's at the turn of the century, and I was imagining her in like Iceland. And she is making an encyclopedia of every fairy ever. So she's very brave. She's out there on her own, like going through the wilds, trying to document these fairies. But this is like a Grimm's fairy tale story because the fairies are all pretty mean. So she's really rather brave that she's out there doing this work. And then this different stuff happens, and it's sweet. It's really nice. I give this one, I think, a 4.5. It wasn't like blow my mind, this is one of my favorites ever, but the romance was just sweet and very unassuming and just a different kind of main character too. So I really liked it. I liked that it felt like you were reading a Grimm's fairy tale. So definitely recommend. Thanks again, whoever suggested that one to me. Then I read You Will Be Mine. This is by Natasha Preston. This is another like college stalker serial mystery. I've read enough of those by now that they're really just not my fave. I didn't remember. Oh, I think this one was free. So that one was only okay. I think I gave it like a 3. I just, it was take it or leave it. It's one of these things where there's a group of friends and you suspect everyone, and then they just keep disappearing one after another. So yeah, it was okay, but it was free. So next I read The Man Who Died Twice. I really liked this one. This is by Richard Osman, and it's the second book in the Thursday Murder Club series. So you may have heard me about a month ago talk about the first one. The second one was maybe even better. I really liked it. It's so fun. These characters, there's like these 4 main characters. They live in a retirement village. One is like ex-MI6, one is a ex-nurse, one is a ex like mafia sounding guy, and one of them is a psychotherapist. And then you have other characters in there besides them, but it's just funny. It's really, really charming, and it's really fun watching these people who are a little bit farther along in life, just the things that they can get away with because people don't assume that they're up to no good or different things like that. And I just think it is really, really cute. So I'm really enjoying that series. Then I listened to Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This book is similar to Love in Other Words, if you remember me talking about that maybe 6 months ago, so maybe you don't remember, but it's very similar to that, and I preferred that one because the twist in this one, I was just kind of like, So this is another romance. It's a second chance romance, and when you finally find out why the people haven't been talking to each other for the past 15 years, it was just kind of a letdown. So it was okay, but yeah, I think I gave it like a 4, maybe 3.5. Then I am 15 minutes from the end of Do Not Disturb by Frida McFadden, which is another free one right now for Audible, whatever, member. And this one I thought was pretty cute. I think I liked this a little bit more than The Locked Door because she basically takes the Alfred Hitchcock psycho movie, and she has that as being like the basic plot of this book until it's not. So there's a woman and she's escaping something that happened, and she gets herself to this motel, and then there's a one man that's there, and it's like a nothing else town, and then there's a house on the hill and she can see a shadow, and there's stuff where it's laid in that framework and the author acknowledges it as she's going on, like she's like kind of meta about it, and then it's not like that. So I really like that. I thought that was a fun take on writing a mystery, like taking an already well-known, a whole bunch of plot points and then switching it up. So I liked that quite a bit. So I think my top picks for you are definitely the Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, and then the Ministry of Time if you like time travel and like just different kind of stuff. And then The Man Who Died Twice. I really, really like that. But start with the first one. So, okay, that's going to be it. I will see you back in my next video in 2 weeks. I hope that you have so much stitchy time until then. I hope you're staying safe and cool. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for those of you who have subscribed. If you aren't yet subscribed, I encourage you to do so. And I will see you back in 2 weeks. Take care until then. Bye.